Advancement through technology. It's been Audi's slogan since the 80s, as it's grown to become one of the world's premier prestige brands. Now, Audi is pushing into new technology with this car, a fully electric, semi-autonomous SUV that the brand has never attempted before. It's the future of Audi, and it's called the e-tron.
This will be the first electric Audi sold in Australia. It's a big deal and the start of an enormous push towards electric cars that could see 1 in 3 Audis become battery-powered as soon as 2025. So what do we have here? Based on the bones of the Audi Q7 family SUV, the e-tron does away with diesel engines in favour of a pair of electric motors, producing a combined 265 kilowatts and 664 newton meters, or up to 300 kilowatts of combined power for brief periods of overboost. A 95 kilowatt hour battery mounted in the floor uses around 25 kilowatt hours per 100 k's of electricity, giving the SUV a workable range of more than 400 kilometres. Full prices and specs for the e-tron have not been confirmed, but we can tell you that it will cost around $140,000 in Australia, loaded up with key technology including Audi's latest safety suite. Tech is core to their e-tron's appeal, both under the skin and in the cabin.
Audi makes some of the best interiors on the road, and that certainly is the case for the e-tron. Now, you've got 3 high-resolution displays that represent fairly conventional technology for a high-end luxury car. There's a fully digital driver's display here, and then 2 digital displays that you use to control things like infotainment and navigation, and then for the heating and air conditioning controls as well. But what represents a big change is right here. The car does not have conventional exterior mirrors. Instead, it's got high-definition OLED displays that are tucked into the corner of the door, and you use those to see what's coming from behind.
We tested the e-tron in Abu Dhabi at its international launch. Audi offered a range of driving conditions including rocky off-road elements, sandy areas, motorways, and one of the world's greatest driving roads, the Jebel Hafit Mountain.
Electric cars are quiet. It's part of their nature. But the e-tron is quieter than most, and that's partly due to its aerodynamics. Things like the clever mirrors that really cut down on wind noise. When you're cruising along the motorway, it makes very little sound whatsoever. You just sort of hum along silently without any disturbances. And right now we're doing about 80 kilometers an hour, and you can hear a little bit of road noise. That's about it. It's a very refined, quiet car, and that really plays to the car's strengths as a luxury vehicle. Luxury cars should be about prestige and refinement, being quiet and sort of isolating you from the world, and that is definitely something that the e-tron does quite well. Now, as a driver's car, it has a bit of go. You can put your foot down and you've got up to 300 kilowatts of power, which is quite a bit. And then when you brake and come to a corner, yeah, you've got quattro all-wheel drive with a motor in the front and a motor in the back that are working together to harvest energy and then propel you down the road. It's not a light car, it weighs in at about 2.5 tons, which means it can feel a little bit heavy when you tip into a bend. It doesn't have quite the athleticism of something like an Audi SQ5 or a Q7, but it's not too bad at all. The controversial point for me is the mirrors. Now, these digital mirrors require you to change your focus quite a bit. When you're normally driving, you're looking down the road hundreds of meters, but when you have to look at this, it's only 40 centimeters or so away from your face. So it's a big adjustment from your eyes, and it takes a little while to get used to. It's something that I haven't quite become accustomed to in a couple of hours driving the car, and it's not something I'm hugely convinced by as yet. Yes, there are great benefits to be had in terms of efficiency and aerodynamics, but as to how they translate in the real world, I probably prefer regular glass. Maybe I'm just a bit of a fuddy-duddy. On the whole, the e-tron represents a really convincing car. It stacks up as a luxury vehicle. It's well finished, it's quiet, it's refined, and it's beautiful to drive as well. As an electric car, it brings all that you'd hope. More than 400 kilometers of driving range, 300 kilowatts of performance, and fast charging in a way that no other vehicle can currently match. The e-tron represents the complete package. If this is the future of Audi, it certainly looks quite bright.
The new Audi e-tron is a very impressive car. It goes on sale locally in the second half of 2019.